So here we are at the Timeout Pub. This is the second floor where we're going to take over for the weekend for the Brave New Blues Band. The house system is kind of up there, which I can't use. I can't use the house system. Those two speakers hanging up there. So what I've got is we got four 15-inch mains. Two over there, two over here. We got the 15 and the 12-inch subs down there, and we got four monitors on the stage, 12-inch monitors, three up front here, and one in the back for the drummer. This one here can be used if there's a vocalist at the keyboard, otherwise can be just kind of off to the side. Hi, it's party goers. Woo! Yeah. And what I've got here is a sax mic. It's a C519M AKG sax mic, so that's going to be fun. That's been very useful. A lot of very talented sax players have done that. If we get somebody else, I've got this AKG 535 EB. If you look real close, right there, it's switchable, and excuse me. What that means is that I can pad that thing down 12 dB, so it can be used as a vocal mic or a horn mic, for that matter. And here we have some EV mics across the stage, and yeah, that carpet, my goodness. Lee Levitt's drum set. I've got a couple of overheads, a vocal mic up there for anybody that's going to sing. I've got SM57 on the snare toms. I've also got one on the snare, but with a drum clamp. Past years, the stand gets kicked, and damn, all of a sudden, no snare. A nice AKG kick drum mic. Both of the guitars are going to be guitar amps are set up in these stands that allow this guy to come right down here, get really well positioned, and get awesome sound, all built into the stand itself. It aims the guitar amp up at the artist, which means that they don't have to have it as loud. I can carry the volume of the guitars out through the mains. Same over here. We'll have a second guitar set up. The bass cabinet will be over here in this corner. And the keyboard, Mark will set up his keyboards over here. He sits kind of like facing the drummer. And there we go. Up top, there are two sets of lights that I've put up, which are those four in a row. I can't, if I can get my finger in the picture and see what the heck I'm doing. Yeah, these four right here are mine, and then these four, I can't see it, it's too dark. Basically, there's four more right up there that you can see, and those are the lighting situation. The lighting's pretty basic. It's just a simple controller board, and I can kind of just bring things up and down. As you can see, the antenna's broken because it dropped yesterday. All right, so I've got a 16 channel snake up on the board, up on the stage. I'm not using all of them. It's just easier to get cables to stuff that's closer here. So if we look down at the board, we've got the wireless mic. We did have the lead vocal here in two, but in order to, it's a long story. Hang on, don't worry about it. This is just this is actually mic 2 now, and vocal 3 and vocal 4. We have guitar 1 and guitar 2. We have the keys, the bass, and then we move the lead vocal here because in order to get the snake so that I can get between all the channels I need to on this board over to the recorder over here, it wouldn't reach over to here, so I switched things around. I'm going to make things more confusing for myself by not having that lead with others, but okay, we got the kick, the snare, the tom. We have overhead 1 and 2. Note that everything on this side here is powered with 48-volt phantom power, so I've grouped all that stuff together over here, so I only have one patch panel of 8 running phantom power instead of more than one of them. So we have the two overhead mics. We have the clip-on sax mic. We have the 535 mic on the stand. Also, and I didn't show you that, there are 2 units on the stage, DI units, direct insert for anybody that's coming up. I know I have one guest coming that plays a jazz violin, and if she can just plug into a DI, she's a happy camper. Makes it easy for her to play. She feels comfortable coming here. It makes a big difference. So yeah, if we go back onto the stage area, you can see those 2 little blue lights there. those are the DI units, and that will allow somebody to plug in. They are like an acoustic guitar could plug in there, etc. So another thing that's going on here is that, how much time have I got? Okay, 9 minutes. Another thing that's going on here on the board is I have got subgroups. And subgroups are useful for a bunch of reasons, but primarily what it allows me to do is to apply compression to various channels. Now what compression will do is it will limit the amount of volume coming out of any of these channels based on where I set this rotary button here, so that if the keyboard suddenly gets extremely loud, which can happen, this will cap that and keep it from hitting the mains, and also will keep it from hitting the recording deck, which we'll get to in a minute. So certain groups, certain things, I've got 12 channels that I could take over to the recorder. Okay, so they plug in over here 1 through 12. So channel number 1 is the lead vocal. Channel number 2, and I've got a map of it here somewhere. Channel number 2, if we look at the magic map here, which I didn't go exactly by, but I went close to it. So if we look on here, basically channel 2 is coming off of this subgroup 1 over here, up in here on this plug, and over into channel 2 on the recorder, and what that's getting is all the other Vox channels. So it's getting the wireless vocal 2, 3, and 4, which is, you know, the wireless here by this thing, and then the 3 mics, 2 mics across the front, and the drum mic. So that means once I get these individual vocal levels set, I can control all of the accessory vocals with this one slider here. I can also get compression on that in case that gets out of hand, or I have feedback or squeal or whatever it is. The 2 guitars are going straight in on channels 3 and 4, right here, 3 and 4, right into the recorder. The keyboard actually runs through subgroup 4 and then into the recorder. The bass runs directly to the recorder. The lead vocal, as I said, runs directly to channel 1 of the recorder. The kick, the snare, the tom, overhead 1 and 2 all go in directly into the recorder so that I can do the best job of mixing that in with what's going on. Now I mentioned that I have subgroups operating here, and what that means is that, and it's really hard to see, but this set of buttons down here, and you can see how various ones are pressed in and out and in and out. That top button actually mutes a channel, mutes and unmutes a channel. So that means that channel's on when the light's off, on, you know, so. I can also assign, and probably the easiest thing to do is to look at the subgroup that I've set up for both sax mics and the DI units over here, going through this subgroup 2. So in order to set this stuff to subgroup 2, what I've done is I've pressed in the 1-2 button, and because I want it on channel 2, I pan everything to the right, and that all goes mono out to this channel here. That also allows me to record all 4 of those in one of the subgroups. Very critical, though, that I have this volume knob set correctly, and then I go over here and I look at my meter settings for the various groups coming in, so that'll be important for me to look at that. So because I needed more than the 16 channels that this board could do, which, you know, I might have been able to squeeze it in, but it was just, I really needed more inputs. So what I did was, I'm running all the sound off this main 24 channel board, and then what I'm doing is I'm sending these 4 plugs right in here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a look at those. Okay. So those 4 are going over here into this board's 1, 2, 3, 4 channel. And what I've done is set this one is only coming out monitor 1, this is coming out monitor 2, monitor 3, monitor 4. This board has 4 built-in amplifiers that will allow it to be either switched as running 4 monitors or 2 monitors and 2 mains. Right now it's set up for 4 monitors, so the only thing I'm using this for is to run the 4 monitors in and out to the amp. So using the 4 amps for the monitors. The benefit of this system is that I actually have enormous control over the tone of what comes out of those monitor speakers, because I can change tonally high mids, low mids, and lows on these channels here. And by doing that, I can leave the actual signal clean over here, clean moderately into the recorder, but still be able to affect the tone of it on the stage, which will be really, really important in terms of preventing feedback and allowing the artist to hear what they need to hear, but nothing else. Like, there does not need to be much bass. So these, all four of these are going to have some of their bass turned down, because that doesn't need to be up on stage. It just doesn't need to be there. Some of the mid-high frequencies also get taken out. What this setup allows is lower volumes on stage, so that the artist's ears aren't getting blasted as bad. And then the main volume comes out of these main speakers. So I'll give you an example of that. Can I do that real quick right now? I can. Let me do that. Alright, I need to change my music list to Mobu's Blend. And I think everything's running. Yeah, I think so. So let's just see what happens when we crank this up. So another thing I didn't mention, which we'll get into, is that this EQ has got all the low end pulled out of the mains, and I'm running subwoofers over here on there to carry the load. So anyway, that's basically a rundown of the sound system. Also, back there, we got some lights. So I'll do another video later when the band's running, and you won't be able to hear anything, but you'll be able to see it. So.
Never did get to re-recording that video because it just gets so busy mixing, etc. It was a wild and crazy weekend. A few pictures from the weekend that'll go zooming by here.
It's Friday night.
Yeah, we don't need that. That was a short
I know you.
video. We'll leave it in. What the hell?
Okay,
yeah,
battery's running low, so here we go. We're going to do a quick tour. This is the Timeout Pub. We're going to crank up in about an hour.
No voice at all.
Our staff isn't even here yet.
But that's okay.
So I'll start talking again in a second after we get out of the room.
Of the main stage acts came up and played with us, which just is awesome every time. We don't know what to expect. But I set it up for as much as I can. We did have 10 people up on stage.
Yeah, that's the end of the bat.
So it gets pretty intense. Here's the area of the concert before it starts. I think this is Friday night, right as the band is getting going and warming up. And, the Friday night crowd's a little subtle. We don't have quite as much sewing going on. And then Saturday, well, that's, this is Ilana Katz that came out and played with us both Saturday and Sunday, and had a great time doing that. Excuse me. And so I tried this year to take more pictures, but again, like I said, I get so busy on the stage, off to the side mixing and staying on top of the sound that very often I forget, because it's just, again, with all the inputs and controlling the sound, and it's a live thing, so you're on top of it all the time. We had a friend at JB's come up on stage. A relative came up and sang a song. What did he sing? I don't remember. Oh, Superstition. And then, then Cat Riggins comes up on stage and plays a set. And then the next, I think we're into Sunday now, where Little Ed came up on Sunday night. And then Matt from Matt and the Barn Burners came up and sang one. I think, yeah, that's Steve of Bailey of excuse me, Black Cat Road fame and other fame came up. Jessica was with him. She came up and sang a song. Don't know if I caught a picture of that. This Tab Benoit shows up, and he's up on the drum set for a freaking hour. It was awesome. Didn't play guitar once, didn't sing, just played drums, had a great time. And of course, here is a horrible picture of myself with Tab Benoit. And yeah.